Hello, welcome to my April wrap-up, which means we are in May. It's gonna be May. That's been in my head all month. All month? It's like 2 days into the month. Well, it's been in my head all month. Anyway, we're talking about the books that I read in April. April. It's off to a good start. I read 6 books in April. I am still in this reading slump, but we've gone from reading 5 books a month for the first 2 months of the year and then 6 books a month for the 3rd and 4th months of the year. The first book I read is The Defence by Steve Kavanagh. This is the first in the Eddie Flynn series. I have read this series in a very mixed up order. I think the first one I read was 13, then I read 50/50, and then I've gone back and read the first one, which I don't know why I chose to do it in that order, but you know, it was fine. Actually, it wasn't fine, because I think that probably affected my enjoyment for this book, because I already knew a lot of the stuff I was getting introduced to, so at times it felt quite repetitive because it was telling me something I already knew because I'd read future books in the series, when actually if I'd have just started with this one that probably wouldn't have been that much of an issue, but I didn't do that. So I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was tense. The idea was that the lawyer that this series is all based around had to defend somebody that was kind of threatening him to defend them, and if he didn't defend them successfully it would cost him his life and the life of those he loves. So it's a little bit of a difficult situation for him, and it was definitely tense, but I felt like I kind of could tell where it was going because I knew certain things from the other books. So once again, I've completely ruined this one for myself. At no fault to this book to give it 3.5 stars. I mean, that's still a good rating, but I very much affected my own enjoyment of this book by reading it out of order. Then I read The Horus Descent by Tom Harper. This is a clever mystery type of thing. It is going between now and very, very ancient past times. Well, I'm saying now, I think it was written in like 2000 and not now, but whatever the present is for the book, 2000 and something. 2013, do you know what? I don't think of 2013 as that long ago, and then I realised that it's over 10 years ago, and then I get a bit sad. So this is set in 2013, and also some point before then, 389 BC, between Athens and England, and also a little bit of Italy? Was it in Italy as well? I can't remember, and I literally just read it. Anyway, this follows somebody whose wife is an archaeologist and she goes missing, and he doesn't believe that she's gone missing of her own free will. Like, basically, people are trying to say that she's chosen to deliberately go missing and wants to be left alone, and he doesn't believe that, so he's trying to prove that that's wrong, at the same time as us getting this little mystery being picked apart between the past and the present. I definitely liked the start a lot more than I like the end. I like the atmosphere, I like the clever introduction of everything, but it stretched out for so long, and I felt like because it was going between the past and the present so much, I just lost interest a little bit. I still liked it, but it was okay. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars as well. Then I read The Murder After the Night Before by Katie Brent. I read this for Cover to Cover episode 2 for season 2, and I had such fun reading this. If you want to see the reading vlog, I will pop a link up here. I just really enjoyed that whole episode, and just generally Cover to Cover is so much fun to film, but this is one of the books that was recommended to me for episode 2. This is following somebody who goes out on a very drunken night out. She wakes up very hungover, and then she discovers that her flatmate has been killed, and she is going to try and investigate it, even though she herself can't remember what happened to her the night before, and she's trying to slowly piece together parts of it. It's quite humorous, but it also deals with some quite intense topics like slut shaming and the sexism surrounding that, so it has got a balance to it, but I generally found it to be really well done. It was very engaging, it was very compelling, it made you really care at the same time as not feeling like it was too much, and you could have a sort of fun time with it. I liked the characters, I liked the direction it went in, it kept me guessing. I had a really good time with this, and I think this was a spot on recommendation for feeling slumpy and just wanting something fun. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Another great recommendation when you're feeling a bit slumpy and you want something fun is Cat Plus Gamer. This is volume 1, and this is by Watura Nadatani. This is so cute. This is following a woman who really likes playing video games, and she leaves her day job and immediately starts playing video games. It's her outlet, she loves it, and she ends up adopting a cat, and it's about how the cat integrates into her life. Volume 2 is on my TBR for this month. I actually need to buy volume 2 to be able to read it, but it's on the TBR. This was just, it was adorable. I loved it. Just so, so cute, and I really want to read more in this world because it's a cat and it's gaming and it's the perfect unity. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read David Nicholls' You Are Here. This is a contemporary kind of romance. It's set along a walk that is going from one side of England to the other, and we are following 2 different narrative perspectives, 2 different characters who are both alone for different reasons and both see loneliness in different ways. And they get to know each other, and it's about what goes on between them, but also what they have going on in their own lives as well. It's really lovely and it was really emotional. I was physically reading the first 100 pages or so of this, and then I ended up picking up the audiobook, and that was such a good decision. I tandem read the audiobook alongside reading the physical book. The narrators for this audiobook were so good. There's 2 narrators, and the woman, her delivery and her timing and her comedic style of narrating was just so good. The reactions she gave were just on point, and I just thought she was so brilliant, and she made this an even better reading experience. I love the outdoorsy setting. I love that we had this adventure and we had this discussion of loneliness and of being alone, and how society views being alone, and how people that are alone actually view being alone, and how very different those things are. And I think it had some really interesting conversations that it was chipping away at. I really liked this one. I started off kind of liking it. It's quite slow. It's very much about the journey of where you're going. And then once I switched to the audiobook, it felt so much more personable, and having those narrators in my ear just really felt like they were the characters, and I just thought it was great. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley was our Patreon book club pick for March and April, and I read this right up to the end of April as an audiobook. This one, I still don't know how to talk about this one. I finished it 2 days ago. 3 days? 2 days? I finished it very recently, and I haven't really done processing my thoughts yet. The narrative felt very scatty. It's set in the late 1800s, and we're following 2 different characters who both come across these watches that seem to have a little bit of a magical steampunkiness about them, and it's about how their lives come together. It's about how the watch is bringing these people together and the overall issues surrounding that. There's also a lot of bombings happening as well, and people are trying to get to the bottom of that. Obviously it's about the watchmaker as well, so 3 characters really, and yeah, lots of stuff's going on. There's some very clever writing in this. There's a real ignorance that some of these characters have towards other characters, towards the women, and towards a lot of Japanese characters in this book as well. There is very much period themed racism and sexism written into this in a way that really highlights the ignorance of some of these characters and shows them in a very specific type of light. It's very interestingly written, because you are not really liking everybody and the interactions they're having. You're kind of able to judge in a different way as the reader. It's got a whimsiness to it. It's kind of got a wholesome narrative style, but at the same time it felt really scattered and really all over the place, and I felt like it was trying to have commentary and make points on certain things, and at other times I was like, I don't know what I'm meant to be taking from this, so I really don't know how I feel about this one. It was another 3.5 out of 5 stars. I feel like I had a couple of I'm not quite sure how to think about this books. Am I going to read the rest of the series? I don't know. There was a clockwork octopus called Katsu in this who was kind of cute. Not a big fan of octopuses, but clockwork, they seem to be okay. I like that he was called Katsu. He made me want to eat a chicken katsu. Anyway, this is the final book, 3.5 out of 5 stars. That is my 6th book. April wrap up. We are in May. Jesus. Okay, that is my April wrap up. I read 6 books. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I will attempt to screw my brain on a little bit better for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to be reading some pretty good books in May, I think, so keep an eye out for various reading vlogs that are coming your way. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.